And that whole sort of idea of, oh, I've got chills thinking about it, this whole idea of artificial intelligence and whether these beings actually have a soul and feelings and what their real objective is. And it turns out that these robots out on this station they do all have their own agenda. And it's sort of a detective noir story that takes place. Very sadly, and a little ironically, Peter took his own life shortly after completing the film. So I'm really hoping that movie finds a voice. Jackie is obviously devastated. They put a lot of work and love into that piece, and it really deserves an audience. So I'm really hoping. I know they screened it, I think, at a convention a couple of years ago. Yeah. So he was a very, very talented and soulful writer, and I really hope that he was also, the interesting thing about that piece was that he had embraced a technology and a form of animation called machinima. Is there a show of hands beside this lovely lady here, heard of the medium? Fantastic. So he heard about it, and in fact, for those who don't know, it's about using platforms from games and then making your own animations with the software. So he made it what he referred to as a crude animation film using this platform, and I hope it's a growing industry. I haven't actually been searching online for machinery in a while, but I assume it's growing in popularity as we speak.
It's not so good for live action actors. It's not so good for us. They've replaced us with the guys from Halo.
But they still need your voice, your wonderful voice.
There is cool machinima out there though. Just Google machinima, you'll find some really interesting stuff. Adventures of Bill and Ted.
I like the fact that people, I think the playing field has been leveled, and in terms of being a storyteller, if you can find a way to tell your story in a visual way with a low budget, why not? I mean, all power to you, and if the story resonates, it'll get seen, it'll get heard, it'll get appreciated, and you haven't had to, knock on doors for 10 years to find a studio to make their version of your story. So that's what I like about it.
Yeah, it's pretty cool.
Hi, this is my first con, and I was so delighted that you were going to be here.
And Lonnie.
And Lonnie.
Well, and I just have to say very, very quickly that Virginia Hay had to catch a plane, but what she wanted to leave the message with you was, thank you for spoiling her. Convention.
But I wanted to say thank you for all the years that I was a Farscape fan from the beginning, and the raw emotion that you took with the chances with your characters, the stories that you told to us were the emotion. It always translated across the screen as to how invested you were in what was really going on. And I can only imagine the difficulty you faced filming with things that weren't really talking back to you. But my question was, what about the webisodes? They're talking about it again, and I understood they were brought up at the Con. Can you tell us anything?
It's all been said, I think.
Well, briefly, the webisodes, there are X number of scripts for the webisodes which have been written. Rock O'Ban and Ricky Manning from the show have been working on the scripts along with Brian Henson. They were set to shoot the webisodes, and Brian had the money, and then November of last year, I think the stock market did not respond favorably. So it's an economic question. Brian Henson desperately wants to do more Farscape, and I've had discussions with him about that. It's simply a question of raising the appropriate funds so that they're not trying to do it cheap. The next thing that Farscape needs to be equal to or better than the last thing of Farscape. So that the Henson Company definitely wants more Farscape. It is only going to be a question of time and money.
Yeah, and Rockney had said that he had hoped, in their minds, if the show would pick up where Peacekeeper Wars left off. So that gives you some context. Yeah. I just look. Comic books, you get to find out what happens next. See what they do to our baby.
She's crying. Next question.
Hi, this is Wendy from Our Voice. I have a question from season 1. In one of the first episodes, the characters are all rudely awakened, and Aeryn shows up in John's underwear. And so
Were you here yesterday? On the Stargate panel yesterday, they asked what we have from, they asked if we stole any props. I have those underwear. They'll be on sale in the dealer room. Go ahead, I'm sorry.
So my first question is, how did Aeryn get the underwear? And part of that question is, what was John wearing? Because we know he didn't pack a bag when he went.
Very specific.
Well, when you watch it over and over, your mind starts to wander.
I can sort of answer part of that question, and then I guess Claudia will have to answer the other question as to how she got it. At a certain point, we realized we are on this ship, which was a peacekeeper ship, and we came to the conclusion that they would have had stores on the ship, not stores, but there would be remaining peacekeeper uniforms and whatever else on the ship, and since sedations are anatomically similar to humans, either John got underwear from Commerce Planet or there were earlier uniforms on the ship. I always wondered about the ship's laundry myself. Because, given the fact that you're generally in the same clothes, after a while, what do we watch? And so they showed that, and then they showed that in that one episode with the big goo that Chiana got stuck in. Practice don't matter, right? That was the episode. Oh, that's scary.
No, it wasn't.
So, the writers are kind of dealing with those questions, and when Aeryn showed up in Crichton's underwear, I did say, what am I wearing?
Yeah, we had to go through the whole issue of not being able to say Calvin Klein, but we wanted to make it clear, and she says, and she doesn't speak English, she's getting in the translator micro to understand him, and everyone else, so she can't read English, so how does she know? So we have some slightly quick dialogue. Well, there's somebody else's, aren't they?
Those are mine.
Well, what does this say?
Calvin.
So
they're not yours.
Asking the question, it made me think about something I read about Carrie Fisher when she did the first Star Wars. They told her that there was no need for her to wear a bra because of the gravity situation in space.